Hello everyone. Today we are going to start a new chapter, children, that is the circulatory system. Children, there are many systems in our body, as you know: circulatory system, digestive system, respiratory system, and so on. Children, there are different types of system in our body. You know, children, that our life started as a single cell, then cells joined together to form the tissues joined together to form the organs, different organs joined together to form an organ system, and then an organism. And inside an organism, there are many systems which are formed by the combination of different organs. So, children, here we are going to study a new system, that is a circulatory system. So, first of all, we should know what is a circulatory system. Here is the introduction, children, before starting this chapter. All living organisms need energy for various metabolic activities, for movement, and for locomotion. You all know, children, that every living organism on this earth, they require energy to perform various metabolic activities. And to perform these various metabolic activities, you all know that we require energy. And from where we are getting that energy? We are getting that energy from the food which we eat. So, see here, children, this energy is derived from the food we eat. Plants prepare their own food, and animals, they take the ready-made food. Children, as you all know, that plants, they prepare their food by the process of photosynthesis. So they are known as autotrophs. And all the animals, they depend on the food which is prepared by the plants. That is, all the animals, they depend on the ready-made food. So they are known as the consumers. But the most important process is to transport the food within the body and to bring out the waste generated in the body. So, children, in the first chapter, that is transport of food in plants, we have seen that in plants, the transportation of food and water is brought about by xylem and phloem tissues. Xylem conducts the water from root to all the different parts of the plants, and phloem conducts the prepared food from the leaves to other parts of the plant. But children, in animals, this important process of transportation, the food within the body, and to bring out the waste generated in the body. So it is important, whatever food we are taking in, that food has to be transported to different body organs, and whatever waste is produced in that body organs or in the cells or in the tissues, that has to be brought out from the body. And the process is brought about with the help of heart and the blood vessels. So this process of transportation is brought about with the help of heart and the blood vessels. Heart, you all know, children, it pumps the blood, and the blood vessels are the tube-like structures which helps to transport the blood. That means the blood flows to different organs through these tube-like structures. They are known as the blood vessels. They function to transport substances and together forms the circulatory system. So all this heart and the blood vessels, they function to transport the substances, and they together forms the circulatory system. So the heart, the blood vessels and the blood, they together forms the system, and that system is known as the circulatory system. And the main function of the circulatory system is to transport oxygen, carbon dioxide, food, hormones, and other enzymes from one part of the body to the other. So, here, children, will start the circulatory system in human beings. In human being is present a very well developed closed type of circulatory system. So all human beings, they have a well developed circulatory system, and this circulatory system is of closed type. Now what is the meaning of this closed type of circulatory system? See, children, closed type of circulatory system means, underline this, closed circulatory system. So, closed circulatory system means the blood stays within the blood vessels. It doesn't flow throughout. So, it flows through the blood vessel. It reaches the different organs through the blood vessels. In this way, the blood is kept separate from the body tissues. So, blood is separated. In this way it flows, the blood flows through the blood vessels, and in this way the blood is separated from the body tissues. And this system, children, this circulatory system has heart that pumps the blood through the continuous circulation pattern. So this heart, the main function of the circulatory system, see, is to transport the food from, not only the food, but the oxygen, carbon dioxide to different parts of the body. And this, in this circulatory system, children, the blood flows in the blood vessels, inside the blood vessels. So it is known as the closed type of circulatory system. Blood vascular system in man can be studied in three parts. As I told you, the blood vessels and heart, together it forms a system, and this system is known as a circulatory system. So first we will study about the blood. What is blood? You all know, children, blood. You have seen the blood also. It is red in color. So blood is bright red when oxygenated. Oxygenated means it is rich in, when the blood is rich in oxygen, it is known as oxygenated blood. So it is when the blood is full of oxygen, it is of bright red color. And dark red when deoxygenated. Deoxygenated means it has carbon dioxide, less oxygen but more carbon dioxide. So that type of blood is known as deoxygenated. And when the blood is deoxygenated, it is of dark red color. Fluid. So blood is a fluid tissue, connective tissue. It forms about 8 to 10% of the body weight of a vertebrate. So a vertebrate means all those who have a backbone, they are known as the vertebrates. And all the vertebrates, they have 8 to 10% blood of the body weight. Now, it is saltish in taste. I think you might have tasted your blood. It is saltish in taste, slightly alkaline. Its pH is more than 7, that is 7.4 in nature. Heavier than water. So blood is heavier than water. And viscous. Viscous means having a thick, sticky consistency between solid and liquid. Viscous. It is neither solid, it is neither liquid. It is in between, and it is having a thick, sticky consistency. Sticky fluid. It always keeps on circulating through blood vessels. So as I told you, the blood continuously circulates in the blood vessels. The heart pumps blood into arteries. Now, the blood is continuously circulating through the blood vessels. Now, children, these blood vessels are of three types. You will study about these three types of blood vessels later on. So, these blood vessels are divided into three types. They are of three types. So, the heart pumps blood into arteries. Now, the heart is pumping blood into the arteries, and it is oxygenated blood. So, arteries carries the oxygenated blood from heart that carry it to various organs. So, heart pumps oxygenated blood into arteries, which goes to various organs. So from heart to various organs, the oxygenated blood is carried through the arteries. And after exchange of various materials with the organs, it is returned back to the heart through the veins. Now the arteries carry the oxygenated blood from heart to different body organs, and from the body organs, these veins, another type of blood vessels, they carry the deoxygenated blood back to the heart. So, arteries carry the oxygenated blood from heart to or different organs, and veins bring back the blood from deoxygenated blood from various organs back to the heart. So, this is about arteries and veins. Now, composition of blood. Composition of blood means the blood is composed of different things, or we can call it as it is made up of. It consists of. So blood in vertebrates consists of two major parts. So blood is made up of two major parts. One is this liquid part or the fluid part known as the plasma. This plasma is the fluid part that forms 55 to 58% of the total blood. So blood is made up of a fluid part or a liquid part that is known as the plasma. And second part is formed elements. The second part is called by the name of formed elements, which consist of cells or corpuscles and cell-like structures. So plasma is the fluid part in which formed elements are present. Formed elements, they are the corpuscles or the cell-like structures. And this formed elements form 42 to 45% of the total blood. Now we will study about the plasma. Plasma is a straw-colored fluid. Straw-colored means slightly yellowish in color. Yellowish brown we can call it as straw-colored fluid part of the blood. It forms 55 to 58% of the total blood. So plasma, the color of plasma, underline it children, it is straw-colored fluid and it consists of 55 to 58% of the total blood. Now, it is sticky, slightly heavier. See here. Slightly heavier than water. About 90% of plasma is made up of water. So, as we know, children, the blood is a sticky fluid, and this stickiness is due to the presence of plasma. It is heavier than water, and about 90% of the plasma is made up of water. The remaining 10% is formed by various substances dissolved in it, and the 10% is made up of, see, blood proteins are there, some inorganic salts are there, digested food, waste materials, hormones, antitoxins and gases. So 90% of plasma is made up of water and 10% it consists of the food, blood proteins, inorganic salts, dissolved gases, some antitoxins, etc. Now the formed cellular elements. This formed cellular elements, that is shaped structures visible under the microscope, are cells and cell-like structures present in the blood. So children, this plasma and formed elements together forms the blood. So in the plasma you can see some cell-like structures and they are known as the formed elements. They form 42 to 45% of the blood. They are of three types. So these formed elements are of three types. First one is the red blood cells or RBCs. And the biological term of RBCs is erythrocytes. Children, underline that RBCs, and the biological term for RBCs is erythrocytes. White blood cells or blood WBCs or leukocytes. So the biological term for WBCs are leukocytes. And the blood platelets or the thrombocytes. So children, blood platelets or thrombocytes. So thrombocyte is the biological term for blood platelets. So children, these formed elements which is present in the plasma are red blood cells, that is erythrocytes, white blood cells, that is leukocytes, and blood platelets, that is thrombocytes. So today we will study only about the red blood cells. Children, this is very important. This chapter is very, very important. Be careful and listen this properly. Red blood cells, as I told you, the biological term for the red blood cells is erythrocytes. So underline this, the biological term. They contain a complex chemical compound called hemoglobin, which has iron. So these erythrocytes or the red blood cells, they contains this chemical compound which is known as hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is a chemical complex compound which is present in the red blood cells, and this hemoglobin has iron. Hemoglobin combines with oxygen to form oxyhemoglobin. So what is oxyhemoglobin? When oxygen combines with the hemoglobin, it forms oxyhemoglobin. And this oxyhemoglobin delivers the bound oxygen to the cells. This oxyhemoglobin delivers the oxygen to different cells. The red color of erythrocytes is due to the presence of this iron containing compound hemoglobin. So the red color, erythrocytes are of red color because of the presence of this hemoglobin, iron containing compound, that is hemoglobin. Now, as you know children, every cell has nucleus. But mature red blood cells are minute, biconcave and disc shaped. When these red blood cells, they become mature, they become very minute. They are minute, biconcave. Biconcave, this is the biconcave structure. This is the biconcave structure, children. So mature red blood cells, they are minute, they are biconcave and they are disc shaped. Now, disc, you know, this is disc. This is the, see here, this is the disc shaped. This is the disc shape, this is the biconcave. Now, it is the hemoglobin in the RBCs which makes it possible for the blood to act as a carrier of oxygen. Now, hemoglobin which is present in the RBC, this hemoglobin is an iron containing compound and it is a carrier of oxygen. So, hemoglobin carries oxygen in red blood cells. Carrier of oxygen from lungs to the tissues. So, this hemoglobin, it carries oxygen from the lungs to the tissues. Mature RBCs in human being do not have nucleus. As I told you that all the cells, they have nucleus. But when this red blood cells, they become mature, they do not have nucleus. They are denucleated, without nucleus. Now there is a reason why they do not have nucleus. See children, they do not have nucleus. It makes them biconcave. See here, it makes the RBCs biconcave. This because of the absence of this nucleus, this red blood cells becomes biconcave and thus increases the surface area volume ratio for absorbing more oxygen. Because of this shape, this biconcave shape, this shape increases the surface area so that it can absorb more oxygen. Secondly, the space is increased and more RBCs can be accommodated in the blood vessels or in the capillaries. See, blood vessels, see this is the blood vessels, and these RBCs are present here. So more RBCs can be accumulated because of the absence of nucleus. It makes them biconcave. It increases the surface area to absorb more oxygen, and inside this blood vessel more RBCs can be accommodated. This is the reason that mature RBCs, they do not have nucleus. Why they do not have nucleus? This is the reason. They lose their nuclei so as to increase the space for hemoglobin and thus oxygen. So when they have no nuclei, they will become biconcave in shape. Their surface area will increase. They will absorb more oxygen, and it can carry more oxygen. More oxygen can be transported to different parts of the cells and tissues. They are made inside the bone marrow. So they are prepared inside the bone marrow. So bones are filled with a marrow, and they are known as the bone marrow and are destroyed by the liver when they die. So when these RBCs die, they are destroyed by the liver. They have a lifespan of 100 to 120 days. So these red blood cells, they live for from 100 to 120 days, and after that they are destroyed. After their death, they are destroyed by the liver. They are disc shaped and are able to fold and bend when they are forced through the smallest blood vessels. See children, I told you that there are three types of blood vessels. Arteries, which carry oxygenated blood from heart to different organs. Veins, which carry deoxygenated blood from the body organs to the heart. And the another type of the blood vessels they are the smallest type of blood vessels, and they are known as the capillaries. So smallest blood vessels are known as the capillaries. So children, they are disc shaped. Now the red blood cells are disc shaped, and because of this disc shape, they are able to fold and bend. They can be folded. This disc shaped can be folded and bended when they have to pass through the smallest blood vessels, that is the capillaries. I think children, you might have understood about all this. Read it again and again. Go through the chapter. This chapter is very important. Underline all the things which I have underlined. All this reason why this mature RBCs, they do not have nucleus. All this why they are disc shaped. Underline this. Learn it. Go through it. Read it very carefully. And in the next video session, we will study about the other formed elements, that is the white blood cells, the blood platelets, etc. Bye.